All right. Hello, everybody. I think that everyone is able to hear me. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the music. Can everyone hear me and see me okay? Thumbs up or throw it in the chat. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So first of all, welcome to Queen Codes, 4 keys to being the most magnetic woman in any room that you walk into. I am laurensalaun, as you already know. And before we get into all the juiciness of today's workshop, I just want to go through the agenda and some basic ground rules today. So I'm going to, in a moment, share a bit about my story and myself, my purpose, all of that. And then we'll get into the training. And at the end, I'm going to invite you into my Queendom program if you'd like to go deeper with everything that you've learned today. This workshop, as you know, is going to be interactive. I'm going to take you through several embodiment activations that we are going to do together on the call that will support you in literally stepping into and unlocking more of your magnetism today, so that when we're done with this workshop, you will be in an up-leveled, more magnetic state. And then we will also end with a Q&A and hot seat coaching. You can't hear me. You'll come back. I think that is probably just for you because I believe everyone else is able to hear. So all good if you need to pop out and come back in. Also, this is going to be recorded, so you will get a replay of the workshop sent to you via email if you can't stay for the full 90 minutes, or if, of course, you weren't able to join live. So I think we are, more people in the waiting room. There we go. I have just making sure I have all my logistical things up and ready. It looks like everybody is in here now. Okay, great. Okay, so another thing I didn't even read the ground rules. Let's go back to that. So my request is that you are present, you're paying attention, and that you participate during this, participating during the chat, participating on your own, because there will be opportunities for you to stay on mute, but say things out loud to help lock in these activations. So definitely want you to participate. I want you to be all in. This training builds upon itself. So in order to get the most out of it, I encourage you to show up fully and lean in and participate. And then also have an open, curious mind. And if you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I probably will not answer them as we're going through. I'll wait till Q&A time, but as they're coming to you, feel free to drop them into the chat as they come. And then if you do want to share about this workshop, you are welcome to screenshot or share video clips. My request, because it always looks better and things like that, and it's going to, get more other people drawn in, because I think this work is very powerful, very effective. It's obviously what my whole business is about, and I want more people to experience this kind of stuff, whether it's in a free workshop like this or whether it's in a program, one-on-one coaching with me, all that. And so if we're going to take screenshots or anything, my request would be you either freeze frame when I'm looking, presentable, right? Not that I'm going to be not presentable, but freeze frame, not when I'm having a crazy face on. Or even better is little video clips. You can mute them, you can include sound, whatever you want to do. And feel free to share those on social media. And please tag me when you do, or if you do that. So now I want to share a bit about myself. I know that many of you are either in programs with me currently, have worked with me in the past, have done workshops with me, or maybe this is your first time experiencing me in a more direct way outside of just social media. So I'm super excited for all of you being here. Absolutely. And so a bit about me. I now, right, am a women's mentor creative entrepreneur, somatic healer, and transformational facilitator for women. And my mission very much, and it's interesting because I think I knew this was my mission for a long time and my purpose, but I had no idea really until maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago, if that, and couldn't exactly put it into words. But my mission is very much to awaken unapologetic divine feminine consciousness and support women in remembering their true essence, in connecting deeply with their body, with their intuition, and activating their sexuality, their voice, their pleasure, and their purpose to new levels. I specialize in helping women break free of boss babe hustle culture and enter their more soft, spacious, magnetic, luxurious queen era. I am very passionate about supporting women in amplifying their magnetism, in attracting and holding abundance, and living as their most aligned and fully expressed selves. And I'm committed to really elevating female power, female leadership, and just women in general. And I would say today I'm pretty well known for this kind of work, but that has not always been the case. And it's taken a lot for me to get here. So growing up, and I would love, as I'm sharing a bit about my story, if you guys resonate with this or this sounds familiar, like your story as well, like sound off in the chat. That helps me feel like we are, co-creating something. It makes me feel like I'm not just talking at you, all of that. So growing up, I did all of the things, like every single sport, like had animals, did 4-H, was doing art, like everything. And I excelled in just about everything that I did as well. In high school, I focused on soccer sports wise, but was captain of my soccer teams. I did music. I was in every club. I was in all the AP and honors classes. I was homecoming queen, like every single thing, and do it perfectly, all of that. So like Little Miss, do all the things, perfectionist, overachiever, seeking validation from what I was doing, what I was achieving, and what I was accomplishing, and what people thought of me. So all of that drive and busyness and do and achieve, and like look so good and make sure everything's perfect was so driven by this self-worth gap and this need to yeah, absolutely. If do whatever you need to do. If you're able to hop back on, hop back on. If not, the replay will be available before it gets dark, I would say. So very much driven by this self-worth gap, right? This challenge with my self-worth and trying to find worthiness and feel valued in all these external things. So let me know if you can relate to that in the chat. And so those themes of overachieving, of perfectionism, of go, of doing all the things, those themes continued into college and beyond. I double majored in college rather than just finishing school a year early because obviously like doing the most was on brand for me. And after college, I started working at a public relations agency that specialized in crisis communications. That agency was essentially a startup and we were very good at what we did. So we grew really, really fast. Yes, Emma can relate to this. So if you think about crisis management, when like shit's hitting the fan and things are in chaos, plus rapid growth, like that was the perfect quote unquote, perfect combination for me to like go hardcore into burnout and stress and just like be the worst kind of situation for me, but also the kind of situation that I had been like, I wouldn't have chosen anything else, right? Because that's how my programming was. That's just how I had lived my life for so long. And after being there for 4 years, being promoted several times, making good money, I remember having this moment where I looked around and there was nobody whose job or life I wanted. I was like, yeah, you're making all this money and you just got like a really nice Range Rover and stuff like that. And like your house is gorgeous. You had us over for Christmas or whatever it was, like all these things. I'm like, but you're so stressed and you work nonstop. And like you over here, you literally just had a baby like a month ago, 2 months ago, and the baby's under your desk in the baby carrier. Like what is going on here? And so that was a huge wake up call. And I had honestly been pretty miserable for the better part of a year. In my last year there, I was probably, sneaking off to the bathroom to have a panic attack like once a week related to work. Oftentimes, like, it was just awful. And, that would happen, come right back to the desk and keep on working. So I was working about 60 to 80 hours a week. I was incredibly burnt out. In retrospect, it's so interesting because even right after I left there, I remember being like, gosh, why did I stay there so long? Why did I force myself to do this? Like, my intuition was trying to get my attention, and I felt like I had to stay in this, right? And ultimately, too, it wasn't the kind of work I wanted to do long term. And when I was there, like, I very much felt like my soul was dying. So I resonate some. I was expected to be a good girl and be great in school. Yes. So a lot of this that we're talking about is, and I'm sure many of you can relate, is that good girl programming. Do all the things, don't cause much trouble, be perfect at it, like look good, like all that kind of stuff. Yes, good girl programming, which we want to break, right? And like on another note, you guys know I also teach on kink and BDSM and sexual energy and things like that, which is part of why being called a good girl in those kinds of settings is so fun, right? Anyway, another conversation for another time. Check out the Kinked workshop if you want to learn more about that. So anyway, I decided to leave that agency for two big reasons, so that I could do work that I was more passionate about, that felt more aligned. And the big one, so that I could have more freedom, flexibility, and control over how I worked, when I worked, who I worked with, what I worked on, when I worked, blah, 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 all of that, right? I didn't feel like I was in the driver's seat of my life. I'm like, yeah, I'm making good money, but I work so much and I'm so fucking stressed, right? So I saved up, I took on some consulting clients for PR, for social media, marketing, that sort of thing, which ultimately turned into running my own PR agency, which I still have. But that's a whole nother thing. So I decided to leave and do my own thing. And then fast forward, I'm a few years into running my business, and I found myself still in those same patterns of overachieving, being a workaholic, struggling with my worth, go kind of life, doing too much, not seeing like the activity in my bank account match the level of effort and time and energy I was putting in, right? I'm like, I'm working my ass off. Why isn't my bank account showing that I'm working my ass off? What is going on? And I'm just felt, again, exhausted at a soul level. And looking at that too, being like, okay, I want to make more money, so I have to work harder, right? And work more. That's a lie, by the way, right? But that's what I thought was true. So I have to work harder, but I don't know when exactly I'm going to work more, or how to work more. Cause I'm pretty much like nonstop. Like I'm not leaving much time for much else. Right. And I ended up having a conversation with a girlfriend of mine who at the time was a coach, and I hadn't gotten into coaching yet. And we're talking about this, and I'm just like, I'm so exhausted. I don't feel like I have any room for myself, for my emotions, for my brain, in my bank account, but I don't, like, what else can I do? I can't do more. And she goes, I think there's a self-worth issue going on, or a challenge with your self-worth. And honestly, at this point, this was like 2018, I think. I didn't even know what self-worth was, right? Like, so much of this inner work and self-awareness work like has gotten much bigger and more mainstream in the last like 5 years or so, right? So I'm having this conversation with my friend, and I'm like, what are you even talking about? And I'm thinking it's just confidence. I'm like, excuse me, have you seen me? I'm a very confident person and I have achieved so much and blah, 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 right? She's like, no. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about self-worth. And she said, okay, Lauren, what if I told you that tomorrow you can't work? You're not allowed to work. You have to just sit on the couch all day long and watch Netflix. How would that make you feel? My immediate response, like I barely even like took a pause to say, I was like, ugh, worthless. Oh, interesting, right? And so that prompted me to do a major deep dive into my healing journey, to heal my unworthiness, perfectionism, the need to be in control of all the things, right? Like the needing to look good, having my validation and my value as a human be so dependent on all these external things. And that's also when I really started to work on my masculine, feminine, energetic balance, because I realized I'd lived so much of my life stuck in my masculine energy. And then 2020 came around. I am married at that point. My husband and I had just purchased our first home. I'm running my PR agency. I also at the time had a fitness business for a couple of years, and then COVID hit. And in the span of 2 months, COVID shut down the world. My PR agency blew up in a way that I'd been hoping for and working for so many years, largely, I believe, thanks to my crisis PR experience. I made more in 1 month than I had made the entire year before. I didn't even go from like non-six-figure years to a six-figure year. I just jumped right into multiple six-figure years. And only a few months later, my husband and I decided to end our marriage. So, as you know about me, I lived a lot of my life stuck in my masculine, wounded masculine energy, and stuck in that energy of needing to prove myself through achievements, needing to find my validation and worth through what I was doing. So it was only natural that I attracted a partner who was very much in his feminine energy. And when I started doing a lot of that work on myself to heal those things and to find balance, it became very clear that there was a really big gap and a lack of that really grounded masculine energy in our relationship. And ultimately, I decided that I did not want to be in the marriage anymore. And ending my marriage was not only one of the hardest things that I have ever done, still to this day. That was in mid 2020, but also one of the biggest things that I've done to bring myself into alignment. And one of the things that has catapulted my own growth and healing, like more than anything else. And from there, I continued my trajectory of healing, of embodiment, healing trauma, reprogramming past patterns. I went through a major sexual awakening and really healed and rediscovered my sexual energy and power in that regard, and also really deepened my divine feminine embodiment journey. And that magnetism, as I mentioned, right, that during COVID and as these changes were happening, my business momentum shifted really dramatically. And that momentum continued, where I'm like, oh my gosh, I am working so much less than I've ever worked in my life, but I'm making so much more than I've ever made in my life. Like, this math isn't supposed to work this way, right? It's supposed to be, oh, the harder I work, the more money I make. But it was starting to happen in the opposite direction, which is like, actually, I really like this kind of math. I really like this kind of math. And so again, that momentum continued. And as a result of that, I started to support other women with this kind of work too. And as I mentioned, I'm so passionate about helping women connect with their divine feminine essence, to really own their desires, to get in tune with their intuition, to trust themselves, establish boundaries, heal, and really like activate and amp up their sexual energy and live a really fucking delicious life. And whatever that looks like is unique to you. And so now, right, like I get to wake up whenever I want to wake up, get as much sleep as my body needs. I work out at a luxury gym. I ride horses on the weekends. I'm taking tennis lessons, which is super fun. I have a couple successful, profitable six-figure businesses. I have beautiful, rich friendships and community here in Los Angeles. And honestly, like, it's funny because, I think people always say like, oh, like the stuff that you have now, you probably prayed for. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. But not in like a cheesy sense. Like, I have such deep gratitude for this and reverence for how beautiful my life is and how it could have looked very, very different. Because yes, I want to live a really beautiful, delicious life, but it also has to feel really good too, right? And so all of that to say, that's a bit about me, my journey, where I've come from, why I do this kind of work, because I know what it feels like to be on the other side of that stuff, right? I know very much what it feels like and what it looks like to be operating and going through life from your programming, from your trauma from your patterns and how you can cross a lot of the things off the list that you're like, well, this is going to make me happy. This is the next goal. And you can cross those things off the list and then be like, oh shit, like I don't feel as good as I thought I was going to feel when I got to this point. Uh-oh. Right. And so being able to still be a ambitious, powerful woman, but where it's coming from is so different. And when we change that like inner stuff and where it's coming from and what our focus is on, that is also how we can really shift what we are magnetizing into our life. Right. And so on that, I want to know right now, what do you really want to magnetize into your life? And I want you to throw it into the chat, whether it is a relationship, whether it's something about your sex life, whether it's a career, whether it is related to money, opportunities, travel, house. So what are you wanting to magnetize? Put in the chat. Deeper friendships, travel, more money. What else? All right. I'm going to keep going, but I'm going to remind you guys, new beginning, new life, new me. But I also want to know what that means because that's very general and that's very broad. So I want you to be, so one of the things too with magnetizing what you want, you got to be specific and clear. Otherwise you're just like new. New could mean, new may not mean better than now, but it just might be different. Right? Financial abundance. I feel like I've figured out how to reach most of my goals other than financial goals. Okay. Yes. Partnership. Yeah. TV show connections. Love it. Okay. Amazing. Now, what do you think are the top things that are blocking your magnetism, getting in the way of your magnetism? Old patterns and limiting beliefs. Yes. Specifically, because that's generally always what it's going to be. I want you guys to get specific with this. So what are the things that you think, if you knew the answer, right? Because a lot of times it's like, well, shit, if I knew, we wouldn't be here, right? I've said that sort of thing to my coach. I think I said that last week on a call while crying with my coach. But if you knew the answer, what do you think it would be? If you were coaching yourself, what would be? Doubt of ability to reach my goals, perceived obstacles, self-doubt. Yep. Old beliefs regarding not being able to afford this. Yeah. Not having enough, and things along that line. Yes, yes, yes. So scarcity, fear of the unknown. Absolutely. So let me know if any of these, so all of those things, yes, I hear them all the time. I've experienced them myself. Sometimes I still get to play with those kinds of things. And these also on this slide are things that are very, very common and also symptoms of blocked magnetism and things that you may be struggling with that are getting in the way of your most naturally magnetic state. So imposter syndrome, I think all know this one quite well. So feeling like you're never enough, constantly battling that feeling that you don't belong, even when you've achieved success, right? Even when you've achieved success, being like, I'm not supposed to be here. Do they know? Do they know that I'm not as smart or accomplished as like I say I am, or as like they think I am? Like I'm going to get found out. Right. And so in this workshop, I will teach you how to cultivate an unshakable self concept and work on it. Right. Cause all of this takes consistency, and so that you can dissolve imposter syndrome, new career path, new friendship on a deeper level of connection. Also, yes, I love that you're getting specific. Thank you. Okay, next up, fear of being judged. So this can be holding you back from expressing your true self because you're afraid of what people are going to think, or afraid of not fitting in, right? Like, oh shit, I'm going to stand out and then I'm going to be a target for attention. It could be good attention. It could be bad attention, but either way, it's going to be attention on me and I don't want it. Right. And so one of the codes that we get into is going to help you bust through this one without worrying about other people's opinions, perfectionism, and overthinking. So if you're anything like me or past me, you might second guess yourself a lot, feel like you need to get everything just right before you take action. In this workshop, I'm going to teach you how to cultivate undistracted presence, which is going to help free you from the mental clutter and analysis paralysis. Me too. Yep. Lack of authentic connections. I know somebody in the chat already said deeper, more meaningful connections. So feeling disconnected from others or unable to find genuine, meaningful relationships can very much be a symptom of not fully tapping into your most authentic self. And if you're not operating at your most authentic self, obviously you're not going to have authentic connections and relationships. But also, authenticity is the highest vibration. So authenticity is your most magnetic state. So if you are attracting inauthentic connections, that is a sign that you are also not operating at your highest authenticity, right? And so we're going to have some techniques today to really be able to step into authentic, authenticity more. Low confidence in social settings or uncomfortable in social situations. Many people often struggle feeling comfortable or confident like entering a room, especially if there's people you don't know or a lot of people around. I know that I am very outgoing and I'm very much an extrovert. I'm also very energetically sensitive, but I have very fierce boundaries with my energy, and I'm very attuned to keeping my energy, protecting my energy, right? So I pretty much never get uncomfortable in any social situation. However, being an empath, which I very much am, being a highly intuitive person, which I very much am, and because of that, I'm assuming that several of you are empaths, are intuitive as well, are energetically sensitive. You pick up on all kinds of things. That can lead to discomfort in social situations, right? And new environments and all of that. And can lead to you shrinking down to protect yourself, right? And so in today's workshop, I'm going to support you into anchoring into like really grounded confidence and presence so that you can effortlessly stand out and command attention, but so that you also feel very like grounded in who you are, right? All right, burnout from hustle culture. So I already shared a bit about my experience with this, but like so much of the time, so many of us are like constantly striving, grinding, like just trying to like achieve, do, and trying to do all that in order to feel a certain way or have a certain life and everything like that. And so with this, the whole point of tapping into more of your natural magnetism is so that you can step out of that hustle grind mode, right? So that your natural essence and way of being becomes more magnetic to what you want. And yes, it still takes action, right? There's still going to be long days every once in a while and things that don't work always, right? But when we are able to not just connect with, but steer our magnetism intentionally, it's going to make things happen much more effortlessly and with much more ease and flow than is required in like hustle mode, right? Okay, feeling disconnected from your body and your sexuality. If you feel out of touch with your sensuality, uncomfortable in your own skin, or just like self-conscious, right? Like this, we're going to get into, I think our fourth code is going to support you a bit with that. Actually, all the codes will, to be perfectly honest. But one of the most magnetic things about a person, but I'm going to say women because I believe women are wildly more magnetic than men. And I'll tell you why later. But our sexual energy and our sensuality and our feminine energy is incredibly magnetic. And so my hope also with today's workshop is to support you in awakening that sexual energy more and feeling more confident, alive, and magnetic in your body. Similarly, not trusting your intuition. When you don't trust yourself, you're going to dim your natural power, and people in the universe can feel that, right? So if you're in your head, second guessing all of your decisions, you're not able to trust yourself, not trusting your decisions, like, oh, did I make the right choice? Right? Like people are going to feel that flightiness, that lack of grounded energy. So when you don't trust yourself, you're going to repel what's best for you, right? People are going to feel, oh, this person doesn't trust themselves. I probably shouldn't trust them either. God, the universe, like, oh, she doesn't trust herself with this. I don't know if we should trust her with XYZ, right? And to a little disclaimer, if we want to say like the universe, spirit, all that kind of stuff, I tend to say God because that's what I believe. But just know, like, when I'm saying that, you can mentally slip in whatever word or belief makes the most sense for you. And sometimes when I do say universe, I actually mean universe because that is its own thing too. Okay, lack of boundaries and people pleasing. So, anyone struggle with setting boundaries or saying no, or feel like you have to say yes all the time? Or if you're going to say no to something, like, does that give you anxiety or create stress or all of that? Yes. Okay. So, I used to be such a people pleaser, such a people pleaser. I say no so much, and I feel no shame around it anymore. I love saying no. I love saying no. And so when we struggle with our boundaries, again, that goes to not trusting myself, right? Struggling with boundaries erodes your confidence, people pleasing. And yeah. Oh, yeah, girl. Yeah. Yes. And people pleasing and all of these things that leads to burnout. It leads to resentment. It leads to you feeling taken advantage of, but you're allowing yourself to be taken advantage of. But it also leads to being taken advantage of, right? And being an easy target for manipulative people and selfish people. So working on self-concept, which is one of the things we're going to focus on, and working on your undistracted presence, another one we're going to work on today, will naturally lead you to uphold healthy boundaries and attract people who will respect your boundaries. And it will help you feel confident in your no. So when you say no and when you say yes. All right, difficulty attracting opportunities. So being in chase mode, right? Like that feeling of like, you know what? Money, opportunities, all that, clients, whatever it is, relationships, they seem to come so easily to other people, so easily to her. And you know what? Like, I'm just one of those people that it's hard for. I'm just one of those people it's hard for. And so in today's workshop, we are going to help shift that, right? Help shift that because that's just another limiting belief. Okay. And lastly, inconsistent self-esteem, seeking external validation. So you might, and this was very much the case for me, experience highs and lows in your confidence, right? One day you're feeling amazing because maybe you signed a new client or you got a promotion or like you had a really great date. So that day you're feeling so good. And then the next day you get hit with an unexpected bill or a client, like a potential client says no, or someone says, you know what, I don't think this relationship is working for me anymore, whatever it is, right? The next day you get news that doesn't make you feel so good. And so you decide you're a piece of shit, right? It's like one day you're like, oh my gosh, I'm the best. And then external things happen the next day and you're like, oh my gosh, I am the worst. Why would anybody ever want to spend time with me or anything like that, right? Very dramatic. This is how I very much used to live my life. It's exhausting. And so being able to anchor your worth and your value in yourself, regardless of what is happening outside of yourself, is such a powerful key to unlocking more magnetism, right? Because you're not this little thing blowing in the wind, being swayed every which way. And so today I'm going to share how you can fix all of that. And we will specifically be getting into several of these on today's workshop. All right. And as I mentioned, everything listed previously are things that I help my clients break through, either in my one-on-one coaching, in my QUEENDOM program, and then in other programs that I do. And I'm very, I think magnetism can come off as this like really kind of fluffy thing, this intangible thing, but there are actual ways that we can get under the surface and reprogram the subconscious mind and rewire patterns so that you can have lasting results. And so a few things that I believe about magnetism. I believe that we are all born with inherent powerful magnetism, that we have the innate ability to attract whatever we desire and to therefore create whatever reality we want. But due to societal programming, due to trauma, limiting beliefs, other factors throughout our lives, that natural magnetism gets dimmed. We forget that it even exists. And we end up going through life on autopilot, on hard mode, forcing, pushing, grinding, all that kind of stuff, when we have all the tools inside of us to have so much more flow and ease in our life. So today, while yes, I might be teaching you new things, all of the things that we're going to go over are truths that still reside inside of you. So more than anything, it's my intention to help you remember this innate magnetic power so that you can become wildly and intentionally magnetic to your desires. And the reason why I say intentionally is because we are all magnetic. Every single one of you right now is insanely magnetic. Your lived reality, what you're experiencing, even the shitty stuff, is a direct result of your current state of magnetism. And I'm going to get into why on a scientific level in the next slide. So everything that's going on, and that's not meant to make you feel shitty or powerless, right? Sometimes, and don't go down this path of being like, well, fuck, then what's wrong with me if like this bad stuff is happening and I caused it? Don't go down that path, right? And like, we don't need to get that serious about it. But everything that's happening is a result of your magnetism. And so what my goal is in this workshop and in the work that I do with clients is for all the parts of you to get into alignment so that you have more control and intention with that magnetism so that you can use it and leverage it rather than just have it happening on autopilot. And as I mentioned about this workshop, the codes that we're going to be getting into are grounded in somatic healing and backed by science so that you can make meaningful change and be in command of your power and your life. So a little bit on the science part of things, because sometimes the conscious brain, right, the part that we're thinking with and we're taking in all this information with, like, needs to get on board and needs to understand like the details of it. So we're going to go into that a little bit so that it can like be like, oh, okay, this isn't just like fairy talk, girly fairy dust talk. Like, this is scientific shit. Okay, cool. So subconscious mind versus the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is the part of your mind that is running things in the background. It is responsible for like 90%, 95% of your operating system. It's kind of crazy because it's the part we're not really aware of, right? You're like, well, shit, that seems kind of like an unfair situation to be in, right? So the subconscious mind is responsible for our beliefs, emotions, habits, values, protective reactions, so programming, those sorts of things, long-term memory, our imagination, and our intuition. It's also the part of our mind that controls our autonomic nervous system. And the subconscious mind is the goal getter, while the conscious mind is the goal setter. So our conscious mind is the part of our mind that we're really aware of, the part that we are most present with and most consciously connected to. So the conscious mind is the one that says, okay, this is what I want. These are my goals. These are my desires. This is what I want to magnetize into my life. This is what I'm going to manifest. Okay, here's how I'm going to do it. Here's my plan, right? That's what the conscious mind is responsible for and is doing. The conscious mind, responsible for willpower, short-term memory, logical thinking, and critical thinking. However, the subconscious mind, being the goal getter, is the part of us that is responsible for whether or not you accomplish your goals or attract whatever it is that you want to attract in the first place. So the conscious mind is like, here's what we're going to do. Yes, this sounds great. And the subconscious mind, if it doesn't agree, the shit's not going to get done, which is such a shitty situation, right? So subconscious mind, as I mentioned, beliefs, emotions, habits, all of this kind of stuff. Your conscious mind is never going to outperform your subconscious mind. It might for a little while, The conscious mind might outwork the subconscious mind for a little while, right? Or even sometimes for a long while. But you'll notice that the results you get will not be sustainable. And usually the results will not feel good or feel the way that you'd hoped. So the subconscious mind, therefore, must be aligned with the conscious mind, right? Both of these parts need to be working together as a team, moving in the same direction. So in order to be your most magnetic version of you, conscious mind, subconscious mind, they need to be working in unity and heading in the same direction. So if the conscious mind is saying, this is what I want, here's my plan to do it, let's get after it. I want a relationship. I want this amount of money. I want this opportunity. If that's what the conscious mind is saying, your subconscious mind must believe that you are worthy of those things. Your subconscious mind must believe that you deserve it. It must believe that those results, that those outcomes are possible for you. Because the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, if they are at odds, the subconscious will usually be the winner, right? Even if you end up achieving the thing, like I said, it's not going to feel the way that you want it to feel. And so you're gonna be like, well, now I've like, that was an empty achievement. So let's go to the next one, right? And so when I talk about how magnetism is rooted in science, this is what I mean. As if your subconscious mind is operating on its default autopilot, which is what it is doing, and you're not doing that deep internal work to rewire it, to get it on the same page as your conscious mind, to be working in unity, to have more coherence, that's just going to be doing what it does. And your results in your life are going to reflect that. Because the subconscious mind, it, even if, right, even if it's operating from trauma, from pain, from limiting beliefs, the subconscious mind wants to maintain status quo. It doesn't want things to change because it's like, nah, we know how to run this way and we've gotten comfortable with this. And honestly, like changing things would be pretty disruptive and require a lot of energy. So no, thank you. We're going to stay operating in this way. Thanks. We got it. And so it's going to continue to bring you similar results, but possibly in different packaging, right? You'll experience the same kind of thing coming into your life, just it might look a little different if we don't address and connect with and like love and nurture the subconscious mind and get it reprogrammed, right? And so that's part of my goal, right? Is to support you, support everyone here in getting more coherence. And so why somatics and what does that even mean? So somatic healing is a holistic approach to mental health, to coaching, to just like alignment that focuses on the mind-body connection. And it's used very effectively to treat trauma and also to regulate the nervous system. So somatic healing is incredibly effective for working with the nervous system and working with the subconscious mind. And it's a body-centered approach that uses physical components like breath work, movement, meditation, hypnosis, those kinds of things to release stress, release tension, to clear energetic blockages, all of that. And it directly impacts the nervous system and helps to regulate the nervous system so that we can have coherence between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind so that we're more in control of our energy, more in control of our power, and more in control of our natural magnetism. And so that we can unlock more of our natural magnetism as well. Somatic healing is highly effective because it addresses the root causes of emotional and mental struggles at the bodily and energetic level, where many traumas and limiting beliefs are stored. And by working with both subconscious mind and the nervous system, somatic healing facilitates lasting transformation and emotional regulation, which allows you to release past trauma, feel more grounded in the present, and consciously create healthier patterns for your future. There are so many different somatic modalities, and we'll get into a couple of them in a moment. And I am certified in the following ones. So neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, emotional freedom technique, which we're going to do some EFT today, time techniques, Reiki 1 and 2, fires, somatic coaching. We're going to do a little fires today as well, life and success coaching with a trauma-informed lens, and clinical hypnotherapy. We're not going to get into a super hypnotherapy session, but we're going to dabble with a little hypnotherapy today. So I also want to share a little bit about what's possible. So this is a testimonial from one of my clients who's worked with me for a year and a half now. And I'm just going to read this. And then after this slide, we get into all the codes. So scrolling Instagram during the pandemic lockdown, and somehow one quote on an unfamiliar account captured my attention. It was Lauren's account. I visited the profile and recognized myself in many of the descriptions, so I decided to follow. I've been following Lauren since August 2020. Stories after stories and posts after posts, I could feel how her energy was resonating for me. I began to listen to her podcast Amplify, and each episode gave me breath. From Europe to the United States, with age differences, language differences, and country differences, I felt a true connection. But how could I ever know that this was the first step to my personal growth? Life was not feeling smooth in many different areas. I had a good, well-paid job, and I did some consulting. My partner and I had some struggles in 2019, but we were doing better. My horses are beautiful, but I had no time for them. I did not feel aligned. I felt empty. So the Amplify podcast and Lauren's stories helped me to continue my journey. This was the first way that I benefited from Lauren's help, but I continued in my do attitude as the workaholic that I was. Then in the end of 2022, my father died, and I felt lost in front of so many tasks, and I could feel the cracks in my life. At this time, I got the possibility to sign up for Lauren's 3-month Amplify group coaching program. So without thinking, I signed up. I trusted my instincts. During those 3 months, we received guidance from Lauren, had a lot of discussions in the group, and I also learned by listening to the other women in the group. Lauren managed to give us all the attention we needed, but there was also a big kickstart for me because of her coaching. She brought me to realize the blocks that I had to open my soul to others. Lauren's patience was wonderful. She is able to, with small words, and sorry, some of this might sound, this isn't a native English speaker, so some of my translation and stuff is a little, I'm fumbling over some of it. Her energetic and calm way allows you to take all those nuggets and to begin to see your own patterns. She leads you to a better understanding of yourself. In 2023, early on during the Amplify Mastermind, I got devastating news. Lauren and the Amplify group were so supportive. She gave me different perspectives to help me not drown in this drama. My shield was broken, and Lauren had the ability to turn this into a shedding, not a breakdown. At the end of the Amplify Mastermind group, I felt that there was so much more that I needed, more support, that my life had to improve and my soul needed to be free. So I signed up for 6 months of one-on-one coaching. I called myself crazy. I still cannot believe that I did it, but I knew that it had to be. I consider this one of the best investments I have ever made. It gave me support on so many levels that it is difficult to share it with words. Lauren is at the same time a mirror reflecting you back your own patterns, and she leads you to think without trying to give you any present opinions. She is here to support you with discipline without ever losing any empathy. She's a master of many techniques to bring your own soul to shine again. My intensive in-person weekend with Lauren gave me a deep dive into my own world drive and supported my own world. And I was supported by her energy. My world has changed and is continuing to change for the best, and I am sure of this. It might sound crazy, but it was also a feeling that two old souls met again after a long time, and one, Lauren, is helping the other to naturally get her light back. After the 6 months of one-on-one coaching, I got the opportunity to start QUEENDOM, which was the perfect follow-up with many lessons and Q&As, which led to timeline jumps and shifts for everyone in the group. In a nutshell, I learned to trust my intuition, to open myself to true surrender, to trust myself, to manifest, and to react to what happens in a very effective way. I have had so many aha moments that it is hard to summarize it all. This is me after 1.5 years of working with Lauren. My partnership improved so much. Go and listen to her podcasts and stories about masculine and feminine energy. I quit many limiting beliefs that were taught to me, but were not for me. I managed to quit my 20-year-long job that was depressing me for so long and was out of my values. And this happened in the most perfect manner, exactly how I was manifesting it. And so many new opportunities immediately came to me. I am riding my horses again and found the most fantastic horse whisperer to work with. I am connected to the world in so many different, new and intense ways now. Thank you, Lauren, even if these words are not enough. I feel so happy to see what more wonderful things the world has for me. Lauren is professional, friendly, and patient, but she is also simply a beautiful person inside and out who manages to help you learn your true self. I have so much gratitude for all of this. This is your life, and you have to live it as it is good for you. Discover it along the way. So, we ready to get into some of these codes to unlock some of this power and these transformations for yourself? I think so. Okay, so the first code is unshakable self. Thank you. I know. Isn't that so good? The first time I read it, it made me cry. Yeah, it's so beautiful. So beautiful. Queen code number 1, unshakable self concept. So part of this, we're going to have a couple parts here, is the lighthouse effect, where you are so full of yourself, so filled up with your life and who you are, so deeply, I'm getting chills just saying this, in love with everything about yourself, with what you're here to do, with the purpose you have on this planet, with the impact that you're meant to have on others. You are so filled up with this that it doesn't matter if anyone gives you attention. You just emanate this powerful light beam of energy like a lighthouse that gets felt by every single person around you. And when you become so full of your own power and your own energy and so in love with who you are, not from an arrogant place, but from a place of alignment, from a place of gratitude, from a place of appreciation and purpose, other people cannot help but feel it and feel that genuine love, gratitude, appreciation, and purpose emanating off you. And that is how other people want to feel about themselves. And it's also how other people want to feel when they're around anyone else. People want to feel love, gratitude, appreciation, and purpose. So when you fill yourself up with that, so where it is overflowing out of you, so many people are going to be drawn to that, right? And so for now, I'm going to support you in bringing some of that to life in yourself. So I want you to close your eyes. Obviously, if you're driving or, if you can't, be safe. Okay. I'm going to put on some music and then I'm going to take you through a process. So with your eyes closed, I want you to take a deep breath and start to bring alive the feelings of love, gratitude, and appreciation in your body. I want you to connect to your purpose. If you feel unclear about what your purpose is, that's okay. What's your intention for right now? If you're like, you know what, I don't know what my overall life purpose is, but I know that right now my purpose is to heal, or my purpose is to do this or do that, or to be this or be that. So bring alive that love, that gratitude, that appreciation. Connect with how much you love yourself, how much gratitude you have for yourself, how much you appreciate yourself. Whether your journey has been hard or easy, you have overcome every single thing in your path so far. How beautiful is that? I want you to connect right now with something that makes you really, really happy and brings you joy. maybe you feel yourself, a smile coming across your mouth. You feel warmth in your belly, a lightness. What's something that makes you feel so happy and brings you joy? Now I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I want you to answer these out loud to yourself. What do you love about yourself? And I know that sometimes, depending on where we're at, what chapter we're in, what season we're in, or how we're feeling in the day, sometimes answering these kinds of questions can be hard. And I want you to stretch yourself and answer them out loud. I am not okay with you not saying something that you love. What do you love about yourself? What do you admire about yourself? What do you admire? If you weren't you and you were looking at you, or a stranger witnessing you in action in the world, what might you say? Wow, I really admire that about her. I really admire how Valerie is XYZ. I really admire how Carissa XYZ. How Natalie, how Emma. What do you admire about yourself? What purpose are you here on this planet to do? What is your intention? Whether for your life, if you're clear on that. And maybe something just wants to come out and you haven't thought too much about it, but it's just ready to come out and be said. Let it be said. Trust whatever is coming up. What purpose are you here to do on this planet? If that feels too big, what's your intention today? And now, still with your eyes closed, I want you to fast forward 1 year from now. Everything that you're desiring, everything that's on your goal list, everything that you are working to magnetize and manifest into your life, it is here now. It is done. It's been done. You did it. What does your life look like? I want you to say a few things that your life looks like in this year from now reality. Say them out loud. I'll give you about 30 seconds here. Maybe it's an income amount. Maybe it's where you live. Maybe it's a partnership. Maybe it's children. Maybe it's your hobbies. Maybe you've written a book. Maybe you've started a podcast. Maybe you're now a mom. Maybe you started a business. And say it out loud in present tense. I am. I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds to say this reality out loud. Okay, bring that thought to a close. And now I want you to imagine what I am going to guide you through now. I want you to imagine that you're going to your favorite cafe. It's the morning, you're driving, this drive that you've done many, many times, to your favorite little neighborhood cafe spot. You park your beautiful car. You get out of the car, and you start walking to the cafe. It's the morning still, so the air is a little bit crisp, but the sun is out and it feels so good. As you walk toward the cafe through the parking lot, you pass a few other regulars who are so excited to see you. And when they see you, they say, "Hey, I just always love seeing you. Good morning. Your energy is so radiant and so beautiful." You smile and say, "Thank you. Good morning. I hope you have a really amazing day." And you keep walking and you come inside to place your order. There's a man that you recognize in line in front of you. He nods, recognizes you, smiles, and says, "Good morning." And the barista sees you in line behind him and greets you by name. And then the man in front of you says, "You know what? Add whatever she's having to my tab as well, just because." And you smile a little bit surprised and you say, "Thank you so much. I appreciate that." And he responds with, "You're just always so positive, and you're giving the world and everybody you come across such amazing energy. So this is just my way of saying thank you for spreading good vibes into the world." And you order whatever sounds most delicious. Once you've placed your order, you go sit down at a table outside while you're waiting for your drink. You feel that warm sun on your skin again. You can hear people chit-chatting around you, birds chirping. And then you check notifications on your phone for a moment. You have a text from your loving partner saying, "I just want to let you know how much I love you and how incredible I think you are. I can't wait to see you later." And then another notification comes through and it's money that has just come into your bank account. And then another message coming through from somebody that you've worked with, maybe it's a colleague or a client, telling you how much of an impact you've made on them. You smile, feeling so much gratitude as you feel the warm morning sun on your skin. You feel so content, soaking in this perfect moment. You take a deep breath and you look up, and one of the other baristas has decided to bring you your drink. And they say, "I saw you sitting there so peacefully, so I figured I'd just bring you your drink since you're one of our VIPs. And they put down the drink and smile and walk away. You say, "Thank you." And you begin to sip your favorite morning beverage while you soak up how happy and grateful you feel. You can go ahead and open your eyes now. You can tap into that kind of energy at any time, that state at any time. You can choose to step into future you. If everything that you want were here, how would you be showing up in the world? Would you be rushing around? Would you be stressed, frantic, all of these things? Or would you feel calm, grounded, at peace? What would you be doing if everything were already here? How would you be connecting with the world? So cool. I could feel that. Ooh, I love it. Good. So unshakable self-concept. So remember that lighthouse effect, filling yourself up with so much love, gratitude, appreciation, purpose when you go out into the world that other people cannot help but feel that. Number 2, our second code, unapologetic self-expression. This is one of my favorites. It's like throwing a little gasoline onto your magnetism, because when you show up unapologetically and you express yourself unapologetically out into the 3D world for everybody else to witness, right? You give others the opportunity to experience you, to judge you, to praise you, to critique you, to be inspired by you, to dislike you, all of that. And so when you bring your beliefs and your thoughts out of your internal world, right, where they're safe, no one can judge or critique or be inspired, right? And it's not just, it's interesting, I mentioned this earlier, but it's not just good attention that we're often afraid of. Or sorry, bad attention. I just ruined the whole reveal. It's not just bad attention. We can also be afraid of the good stuff, right? fear of success, those sorts of things. Because if everything happened in my life that I wanted, what then? Right? That is a very real limiting belief that can get in the way. So when I say things, right, like you can be afraid of positive magnetism too, not just bad stuff, right? So when we show up unapologetically and express ourselves unapologetically, and we bring things out of our internal world, our thoughts, feelings, expression, out of the safety of our internal world into the external world by way of self-expression, whether that's in what you say, whether that's in how you act, whether that's in what you wear, it's vulnerable, but it's also very powerful. And it also shows another layer of commitment to yourself. It's another level of you declaring, I stand so firmly in who I am that I am not afraid to express myself unapologetically in this way. And with that comes the risk of people rejecting you, of people judging you, of people being mean to you, of people disliking you, of people liking you, right? Of people wanting more access to your energy, of people wanting to be around you more, right? If it's on social media, you run the risk of people unfollowing you or getting something going viral and then having all this incoming attention. Whatever it is, right? It comes with that risk, which is vulnerable, exposing. So when you do that, when you show up unapologetically in the world, you're also saying, I stand by myself so much and my beliefs and my expression so much that I not only am so clear in who I am, but also I don't care if you like me or not. Your perception of me is far less important than who I am and my perception of myself and my own commitment to my expression. So that in and of itself makes you incredibly magnetic, because when people are just vanilla, middle of the road, neutral about everything, it's kind of fucking boring, right? Yes, I think so, at least. And the thing about this, when you show up more unapologetically yourself, there will probably be people who, when they see you in your fullest expression, they go, ew, I don't like her. Oh, that's what she's like. That's what she thinks. That's what she believes. Not my vibe. There are probably plenty of people that may feel that way, and that's totally fine. But there will also be many people who, upon seeing you show up in your fullest expression, are like, oh my gosh, she is even more my kind of woman. Oh my gosh, I didn't know she felt that way, or she thought that, or she believed that, whatever. I love it. I like her even more. Or I just love how unapologetically herself she is. It gives me confidence and courage to show up unapologetically myself too. You might even get people who are like, you know what? I don't really agree with her on this. Not really my vibe, but I love how free she is to express herself. I love her courage to just say what's on her mind, regardless of people think, or just to do what's on her heart without worrying about what people think. Both of those things are true. So unapologetic self-expression is going to repel people and it's going to attract people. And personally, I would much rather people be in my online community, be in my real life, who are pulled to me because they say, ooh, that is my kind of person. She is my flavor. Give me more of that. Let me draw closer to that. I would also rather the people who are not my vibe and I'm not their vibe, I would rather them be like, you know what? She's not my vibe. I'm out of here. I don't want a bunch of neutral energy around me. People saying, she's vanilla. I'll hang around. I don't want that kind of energy in my space. I want hell yes energy in my space, and that's it. So by showing up with unapologetic self-expression, you are going to much more quickly draw those in who are a match for your energy and much more quickly repel those who never really meant to be here anyway. And I don't know about you, but when I see somebody who out in the world who is just so just being, living, breathing, doing everything in their own vibe, and they are so owning who they are in their energy and in their beingness, in what they wear, in what they say, and how they act, all of that kind of stuff. When I encounter somebody like that or witness somebody like that who is so unapologetically self-expressed, you can't help but pay attention to it. You can't help but look. Even if it's not your vibe, even if it's not your style, it still gets your attention and draws you in. It still has a very powerful magnetic pull on you. And so even when you're scared, even when you think people might not like you, even when you're worried about what others think, it's so powerful. Self-expression is so powerful to amplify your magnetism. So I want to know in the chat, what is one way that you are, or what are you holding back on? Is it in your personal style? Is it in how you're showing up on social media? Is it in having a direct conversation with somebody? Where are you holding back? And what is one way that you're committed to expressing yourself unapologetically this week? Maybe that's in something you wear. Maybe you're like, oh, I have this outfit I really want to wear, but I just feel like everyone's going to be staring at me. Or maybe you're like, oh, I've been wanting to comment on this on social media, but I feel like people are going to like get mad. Or maybe it's like, I really need to have this conversation with somebody, but I'm feeling nervous or I don't want to hurt their feelings, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So where is one area, one thing that you're going to do to unapologetically express yourself this week? Put it in the chat. Let's do it. Nobody? You guys chickening out? This is a juicy one, you guys. Not sharing a lot of my true self in general because I still feel stuck in people pleasing and worried about how people perceive me. And if I do or say something wrong, I believe this can be healed, even though it's been happening for a long time. It absolutely can be healed. So I would invite you, Carissa, with that, to find like one area where you're seeing this come up, where you feel like you're holding your true self back, and where you can like take a little step toward that. And then even too, like where you see people pleasing happening the most, and where maybe you can start to pull back on that or start saying no more or expressing boundaries or things like that more clearly. And these things don't have to be extreme or huge. It can be little, it can be baby steps, right? Because especially if it's been a long time, a big dramatic departure can feel really jarring. So you can take baby steps with it. But I would invite everybody to commit to one way of unapologetically expressing themselves this week. If a situation comes up where I feel uncomfortable expressing a boundary, I'll make an effort to stretch myself. I love that. Let me DM me if it comes up. I want to hear, like, and everybody has permission to DM me after this workshop and keep me posted on how things are happening. Holding myself back or don't literally give a fuck about those around me, neighbor, friend. Okay. So maybe it's holding back myself. Maybe it's you get to prioritize yourself more, Emma. You're welcome, Carissa. Okay, queen code number 3. Undistracted presence, connecting to the present moment. Being present makes you more magnetic because it allows you to fully engage with the present moment, with your body, with your surroundings, and not be distracted by what's going on around you or being pulled into the past or fixated on the future, right? Being present here now. Being present also allows you to be fully connected to your current experience. It allows you to focus your energy on yourself, on whatever your intention is and whatever your focus is. This doesn't mean that that won't include other people, right? Undistracted presence in the company of someone else is highly magnetic, right? Think about when you're grabbing lunch with somebody or you're on a date or whatever, like how compelling is it? How good does it feel when you feel like you have someone's complete attention, when they're so present and connected with you that whatever you're saying to them, it's like only the two of you exist. Like, doesn't that make you feel important? Doesn't that make you feel like a priority, make you feel respected, valued? The same applies to whatever you're doing, whether it's with somebody else or just by yourself. When you're present with your own experience, you're giving whatever it is, you're giving yourself, but you're also giving whatever it is that same reverence, respect. And you're saying like, oh, I value this thing. I mean, you're choosing how to spend your time. So I hope you're valuing what you're doing with it. Being present also radiates authenticity, confidence, openness. it also taps into the law of detachment, which is highly magnetic, because when you are detached and when you practice detachment, you are containing your life force energy to yourself, and you don't have all these leaky, like, energetic links everywhere out from you, right? Your life force energy can be cultivated more within yourself. And you're also not like, oh, focused on like, oh, what do I got to do over here? What do I got to do over there? What do I got to do over there? What's happening over there? Blah, 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 right? And thinking about too, like, when you're in someone's presence and they are distracted, they're all over the place, they're looking at their phone, that doesn't feel good. You don't want to lean into that, right? Even if you're like, kind of do want to, maybe from, or, past programming of like, no, let me earn your attention. But we don't want to lean into that, right? And so being present is such a powerful way to cultivate magnetism, because it brings all that power and that energy into your sphere and whatever your intention is and whatever you're doing in the moment. So right now, I want you to close your eyes again. And I'm going to take you through a short process to cultivate more presence. Take 3 deep breaths. Inhaling and connecting with the present moment right now. Exhaling any tension. And another one. And one more. What thoughts are you noticing floating around in your head right now? Don't get carried away by them or feel like you have to create a to-do list or anything. Just notice, like, oh, hi, that's the thought that's bouncing around in there. Oh, that, interesting, okay. Thoughts are floating around in your head. And if it's helpful, which I do think it is, from my own personal experience and from coaching many people, you can say these things out loud. What are you currently experiencing in and around your body? Do you feel pressure, tension, warmth, looseness, comfort, tingling, discomfort? Is there any tension that you're experiencing anywhere? What feels good in your body right now? What sounds can you hear around you? You can hear the sound of my voice, probably the faint music in the background. What other sounds can you hear around you? I can hear the birds chirping outside, and it's so beautiful. What textures do you feel? Your hands are on your legs. Is it touching your skin? Is it touching clothing? How does the seat feel underneath you? Is your back supported? Are you warm? Are you cool? What can you smell? What emotions are you currently experiencing? What sensations are you feeling in and around your body? I want you to just take a few more deep breaths to connect deeply with this present moment. And to let you know that this is something you can do at any time. You can connect to the present moment whenever you need a little reset, whenever you want to pull your power back to you. Just by noticing with your senses. This is also a very beautiful way to cultivate and strengthen your feminine energy, because it is a very direct, sensual practice as well, by connecting with the senses. Go ahead and open your eyes. I We're going to move to Queen Code 4. Unleashed feminine energy. So I was going to do sexual energy for this last one, but I think feminine energy makes more sense, even though they are very closely connected. Feminine energy is about being and receiving, while masculine energy is about doing and providing. We have these energies within us, both of these energies, but as women, our natural state is generally going to be dominantly in our feminine energy. That's usually where most women feel most at home. And our natural state as women is to be magnetic, is to receive whatever we desire, right? Think about anatomy, like the receiving, the giving, it's mirrored in anatomy as well. Feminine energy is the one that sets the vision. She connects with her senses, with what she wants, with what would feel good. She goes, oof, I want that. Here's the vision. She ignites the vision with emotion. Feminine energy follows the intuitive nudges. The masculine energy, whether it's within ourselves or somebody else, is the one who says, that's the vision. That's what you want. Okay, let me go get it. Let me go get it. Well, the feminine energy, she follows those intuitive nudges. She trusts her inner guidance. She surrenders. She's open to receive and knows that it is safe to receive. Feminine energy allows what is meant for her to arrive in perfect timing. And I want to point this out. This confused a few people. I shared a little screenshot last night as I was doing some final touches to today's workshop. So this is going to make sense. If you saw my stories yesterday and you're like, how the hell is this coming up in the workshop? So if you ever doubt your power as a woman, I want you to remember this. Women are the ones who are chosen to be portals for human life to come to Earth. Whether you do anything about that or not, that doesn't matter. We are the bridge between other dimensions and planet Earth. We are designed to create life. We are the beings that are designed to bring new souls to this planet. And we need only one ingredient to do that. Right? Think about the miracle that we are as women. Designed to receive souls from other dimensions and bring them to Earth. To create life from nothing. Furthermore, the sperm swims to the egg. Sperm compete against millions and millions and millions of other sperm for the opportunity for just one of them to get closest to the egg. And we're going to get more scientific about it. A normal male ejaculation contains anywhere from 40 million to 1,800 million sperm cells. 1,800 million. That's insane, right? All of those millions and millions and millions and millions and millions are racing against one another, fighting against one another for the sole opportunity to get to the egg. The egg does not chase or fight anything for the sperm. She doesn't do shit. She's just like, I'm doing my thing. I'm going through my monthly process, living my life. Here I am right now. I'm just going to sit right here. And if anybody cares to chase after me, if all millions of you, I'll just be right here waiting. It is our nature as women to be the magnet. So this is your reminder to lean into and embrace your feminine energy, right? We are the fucking magnet. So I want to know, throw it into the chat if anybody feels blocked from receiving or has difficulty receiving. Yes. Because our magnetism is only going to work to the level at which we are comfortable receiving, right? You may have a threshold. Oh, I'm good receiving this amount. So that's what you're going to receive, even if your wishes are for greater. Not totally sure. Okay. So I want to take you through a quick process, and I know we are at 2 minutes left for today. I think we have 5 minutes to go till we're complete, maybe 10. You guys know me, I like to talk. Yeah, 5 or 10 minutes and we'll be completely wrapped up. So I'm going to take you through a process to help you get more comfortable receiving, whether you have a block with it or not, or you're just like, I want to receive bigger and more. And so what we're going to do, this is called EFT, or tapping emotional freedom techniques. And the way that it works is by activating certain meridian points through the body that are like energetic epicenters, if you will, and it helps us clear trapped energy from these spots. So I'm going to take you through a few points on the body. Let me move my mic so you can see. I feel like I don't deserve things sometimes, asking too much. That feeling comes up. Okay. Yes. And this will help with that. So the first thing we're going to do, the phrase that we are going to say is, even though I feel blocked from receiving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I will say it over and over again so you won't get lost. And I'm going to take you through several points in the body to tap. And you're just going to, we're going to start with the side of the hand, doesn't matter which hand. And you're going to do about 10 taps or so. You don't need to worry about counting. I'll pace you through it. You can just watch me mirror what I'm doing. And you say, even though I feel blocked from receiving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay. And we're going to move on to others. So now we're top of the head, tapping. Even though I feel blocked from receiving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Inner eyebrow. So we're like right here. Even though I feel blocked from receiving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Side of the eye, so temples. Even though I feel blocked from receiving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Under the eye, so upper cheeks. Even though I feel blocked from receiving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Under the nose, so like between your nose and your lip. Even though I feel blocked from receiving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Now the chin. Even though I feel blocked from receiving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Now collarbones. Even though I feel blocked from receiving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And now under the arm, last one. Even though I feel blocked from receiving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And now we're going to move on. So now I know we're just about at time. As I said, we'll probably five-ish more minutes. Thank you all for being here. I understand if you have to hop off, but I want to share with you, if you are wanting to go deeper with all of this to become even more magnetic, all of those things that we did, I want to hear from you about how you're feeling afterwards and any shifts that happen for you throughout the week. I want you to DM me, keep me updated, ask questions, all of that. And if you are like, yes, please, I need more, like I want to go deeper, I want to invite you to take a look at my Queendom program. So everything that we went through today, we dive into more deeply in Queendom, which is my year-long women's coaching and embodiment program that Valerie's in. It combines divine feminine embodiment, emotional intelligence, somatic healing, sexual energy activation, and alchemy to help you become your most magnetic self, your most abundant self, your most sexually expressed self. And in Queendom, we dive deep into somatic work and embodiment so that you can release what's holding you back from living your most magnetic self. And it's designed as a lifestyle program, which is why it's a year long, because as I know, right, I'm not trying to load you up with a ton more to-dos, right, to make your to-do list even longer. I also know too, because my feminine embodiment journey took about 5 years, right? Which is a long time. And I know that this stuff, yes, takes time, and it doesn't have to take 5 years, right? It can be done in much less time than that. And I know for me, so many of the things that I did in my growth journey, like, oh, well, I need to sign up for this strategy program. I need to do this thing. I need to learn how to do this and this and this and this. So many of those things that I did, like jumping around at different programs and coaches and things like that, that I thought were going to like, quote unquote, solve a lot of these problems. If I had just focused on the somatic work, the feminine embodiment work, and like the emotional intelligence work sooner, I would have saved a lot of money. I would have saved a lot of pain, and I would have gotten to a lot of my results faster as well. And so all those things that we talked about earlier today, imposter syndrome, fear of judgment, perfectionism, overthinking, overachieving, inauthentic connections, uncomfortable in social situations, second guessing yourself, burnout, disconnected from your body and your sexuality, not trusting yourself, lack of boundaries, people pleasing, like difficulty attracting things, seeking external validation, all of that, I help you break through in Queendom. Again, with science-backed techniques, with hands-on coaching. And for right now, I want you to just, and I think this is the last time. Is this the last time? I don't know. But I want you to close your eyes for a second and imagine what your life would look like with more pleasure, right? That can be sexual pleasure. That can be joy. That can be happiness. What will your life look like with more pleasure? What would your life look like with more freedom in your body, more peace of mind, more money, the ability to manifest what you desire? And I'm going to say a few statements, and if these resonate with you, I want you to just nod your head. So Queendom is for you if you deeply desire to experience more pleasure, more freedom in your body, more peace of mind, more abundance. Are you craving more ease and flow in your life and want to get out of pushing, chasing, hustling, and grinding? Do you want to trust yourself more, allow yourself to be led by your intuition, and also feel confident in your decisions without overthinking and second guessing yourself? Do you want to feel more freedom in your body, more sexual fulfillment, more turned on in your sex life and just in life in general, more lit up and activated by life? Do you desperately want to clear the limiting beliefs that are blocking you and the things that are in your blind spot that are holding you back from your next level? Do you want to feel more confident and powerful in any setting and scenario? So if you nodded to any of those or resonated with any of those, I definitely encourage you to take a closer look at Queendom. It is an expansive transformation and embodiment journey. It's a lifestyle program that's designed to fit into your life, that will support you in remembering who you are and who you came here to be, in claiming your deepest desires, and becoming the unapologetic muse of your life. It will support you in owning your unique X factor magic, attracting abundance, living an extraordinary turned on life. And as I mentioned too, I give a lot of tools and coaching and hands-on support and activations to support you in clearing trauma, in reprogramming your subconscious mind, in doing the somatic healing, and then also the like action items to really become the woman that others can't help but notice, to and not because of what you have or what you do, but because of who you are. That natural, powerful magnetic pull and the vibe of like, I don't know who she is or what she's up to, but like whatever it is, I want to be around her. I want to talk to her. I want what she is having. Yes, please. So Queendom is for the woman who embodies her queen energy and is actively creating her queendom here on earth. a woman who's committed to the lifelong journey of self-mastery, a woman who is not afraid of her shadow or her potential. It's for women who are not afraid of standing out and being seen, not afraid of being a leader, not afraid of the bigness of her power. Women in queendom honor their sexual energy because they know that within them is a portal of infinite creativity, a portal that has the power to bridge the gap between the cosmic realm and planet Earth. And women in queendom they prioritize their pleasure because they know that when they feel good, they tap into a new level of presence and magnetism. Women in queendom honor their capacity to attract everything, money, wealth, and build a legacy. She knows that money is a vehicle that allows her to live the life of her dreams, a vehicle that allows her to have freedom and choice, a vehicle that allows her to generously bless others. The women of queendom honor their innate magnetism and know that they have the power to attract whatever desires into her life that she wants. She prioritizes her alignment, her healing, her self-expression. She's here to shine her light even more brightly so that others may catch the spark from her radiance and illuminate their own lives. She knows that life won't always be easy, that there will be things to unlearn and patterns to reprogram. She knows that there will be things to heal, wounds to pour love into. She knows that things may not always be comfortable, but it will be worth it because what is on the other side is freedom, pleasure, expansiveness, fun, abundance, joy. And I want you to imagine logging into your bank account with zero stress and anxiety, no matter how much money is in there. And maybe when you do that, you see more money than you were previously used to, and you feel grounded, calm, a sense of gratitude and certainty that even more is on its way. I want you to imagine that you start having the best sex of your life and you feel so comfortable and confident in the bedroom. You're crossing things off your naughty bucket list. You have tons more orgasms and you just feel so activated by life. Imagine what it would feel like when you think about something that you want to do. Ooh, this sounds fun. And then later in the day, the perfectly aligned opportunity presents itself to you. Or maybe you go to your high vibe grocery store and add everything that you want into your cart, not worrying about the cost, just focusing on what's going to be the most nourishing to you. Or maybe it's something like having your housekeeper come and do all your laundry, your dishes, make you feel at home, make your home feel so beautifully clean, tidy, and loved for you to enjoy. And just soak that in. And now feel free to open your eyes. I think that we're done with closing the eyes for today. And this is the Queendom structure. It's a 12-month program. So from the time that you enroll, 12 months from that point, and I will be opening doors this week for new members to join until the doors will be open for 7 days. So that means you can join Queendom for the next week. We have monthly live Zoom training calls, either with myself or a special guest, monthly Q&A coaching Zoom calls with me, weekly audio activation, weekly journal prompts, weekly live mirror work with me, a private group text chat for ongoing support and connection, which is one of my favorite parts of it, just like voice notes and fun and sharing and connection. And then every training, activation, and masterclass is also turned into an audio podcast that you can listen to very easily. And you get instant access to any and all past Queendom trainings, masterclasses, activations, and all of that. And now I'm going to go through the curriculum. So we started in January. So these months, if you were joining this week, you would jump into month 10, which is BDSM and kink. And as you see, there is a lot of focus on sexual energy here, very purposefully, because in my experience with women, the women that I work with, many have experienced sexual trauma or have turned down their natural sexual energy that is very connected to our magnetism. Many women that I work with, and this is true for myself as well, have over the years like shut that down or felt shame around it or whatever. And so there's a lot of focus on Queendom to heal that, to clear shame around it, and to bring that energy back to life and to be so empowered in it as well. So month 1 or January, intention setting and vision casting to get really clear on the life that you want to create for yourself. February, connecting to your body, reconnecting to your body and your senses. March, month 3, intuition and psychic gifts. So learning how to, so that you can learn how to trust yourself again, be tapped into God or whatever you believe. April, month 4, masculine and feminine energy, so that you can understand your energetic balance better and shift to having more harmony, so that you can lean into the masculine, lean into the feminine whenever it best suits you. Month 5, May, feminine archetypes. So all the different kinds of feminine archetypes and alter egos that you can play with, right? Because we are so multifaceted, and we could be like, you know what? Today I feel like being the vixen. You know what? Today I feel like being in my like playful, girlish charm energy. So much available to us. Month 6, June, sensuality and pleasure, connecting us to our senses and our pleasure so that you can be more present, so that you can be more expressed, so that you can experience more pleasure, elevate your vibration, all of that. Month 7, July, we focus on money. And our training in July was so cool. It was about healing your attachment style with money. One of my coaches came in and taught it. Month 8, August, sexual energy and sexual expression. Month 9, using your voice. So using your voice both as an instrument for alignment and power and connection to your body, but also using your voice in speech and communication as well. Month 10, October, BDSM and kink, which we had our training last week for BDSM and kink, which was super fun. I loved going through all that. So anyway, month 11, November, coming up, emotions and emotional intelligence. So really learning how to be a master of your emotions and to connect with your emotions as well, because one of our beautiful gifts as women is having such delicious access to emotions, and just one of our gifts as a human, right? But we lose our power when we allow ourselves to be swayed by our emotions, right? If you get pissed and then you lose yourself in that anger and it disrupts everything in your day, that's not being empowered. That's you being at the mercy of your emotions, which doesn't mean it's not okay to experience them. It is very okay to experience them. You should experience them. You should respect your emotions and give them the presence and attention they deserve, and still be able to maintain your personal power when you're feeling peak emotions. And know, like for example, I think I mentioned to you guys, I cried quite a bit on a call in the mastermind that I'm in with my business coach and other peers recently. And shortly after, I needed to lead a call. I needed to lead another call, like within minutes. And on the call, I was resisting crying so hard. And my coach was like, Lauren, I feel like there's something still underneath that's not going on. You're not completely saying. And I'm like, fuck you. Right. And I just, you say that. And then I'm like, I've been doing so well, not letting the tears out. And I just started crying on the call. And I was like, well, it's this, but also I'm like, I need to be in a leadership role, right? In command of my energy and my attention in 5 minutes. Right. So I'm like, so now is not the time for me to have a full meltdown and process these feelings. And I'm like, thank you. Yes, you're right. And I'm like, and I need to get off this call, clear my energy, get composed and stuff like that, and be ready to deliver and be so present on this upcoming call. And then I will make sure that I come back to this. Right. Because this does need my attention and my presence, and it gets to pause for this moment. Right. And not saying that that's always going to be the case, but emotional mastery, I would say I am very masterful with my emotions and being able to tune into them and be like, oh, this is happening. And then not acting from, but being able to act through emotions. So month 11, emotions and emotional intelligence, how to access and express more of your emotions while also being the queen of them. Month 12, we get into some shadow work. So that is what is going on and coming up. The themes will largely be the same for 2025 as well. I may shuffle things around a little bit, but we touch on all of these things because they are designed to support you in embodying your feminine energy in a deep, deep way, healing and activating your sexual energy and being really in command of your sexual energy, and ultimately also being wildly magnetic to whatever you want, abundance, relationships, love, you name it. And then, as I mentioned, one of my favorite parts of Queendom is our private text group. We have a WhatsApp group with conversation going on throughout the week. It's not crazy overwhelming, which is great. So you don't have to worry about like, oh my gosh, my phone is going to be blown up nonstop. But it is a beautiful space for coaching in between calls, for sharing updates, wins, challenges, you name it. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I love me some voice notes. So everyone in Queendom gets all the voice notes you could ever dream of from me. Some of our guest expert trainings are Valerie. Yep. Monique Benaboo, singer and vocal coach who took us through vocal activation and using your voice for expression. Andrea Summer, somatic breath work. She did a beautiful somatic breath work session with us. Melanie Esperon, who is my intuitive guide and mentor, Valerie's as well, who trained on connecting with your intuition and your psychic gifts. Addison Brianna took us through sensual movement. And then Erin Nicole Porter, who I got certified by. I went through Erin's program to get my certification. She took us through healing your attachment style with money. And bonuses in Queendom, monthly drawing each month to win a one-on-one call with me, special trainings by request from the group as needed. So this has happened several times. If someone's like, hey, I could use support with this, and if I don't have that training planned, or if I don't have that training already created, I will create it. So Queendom it's a very intimate group. And even though, yes, it is group coaching, it is very hands-on, customized support by me. Free access to certain paid trainings throughout the year that I may like offer to my audience for a fee that the Queendom members either get at a significant discount or completely free as well. Access to exclusive Queendom merch, discount on the 2025 Queendom retreat. Those are some of the bonuses. And then so doors are open, as I mentioned, until October 21st. That is 7 days that doors are going to be open. And normally Queendom is one payment of $5,555 with, as you can see, several payment plans available. But because you guys are on this workshop, I am giving you all $333 off if you use the code Queen Codes. So that code is good until Wednesday. So it's 48 hours, right? Like I said, doors will be open till the 21st. All these goodies, the discount, the Queen Codes discount code is good until midnight on Wednesday evening. So Wednesday, 11:59 p.m. That code, Queen Codes, will give you, as I said, $333 off whichever payment plan you go with. So if you pay in full, that's $333 off your one payment. But if you go with one of the monthly payment plan options, you get $333 off your first payment. So if you do the 12-month payment plan, your first payment is like $200, which is amazing. And if you do sign up before end of day Wednesday, you will get a bonus 60-minute VIP breakthrough and embodiment session with me. So some of the things that we just barely touched on today, we can spend a full hour going deep on anything that you are working on. And you'll get an exclusive queen necklace. Oh, I forgot to I was going to put mine on for today. Oh, I forgot. Sorry. So all of those juicy bonuses available until end of day Wednesday. Doors will stay open until October 21st. I will send all of this information to you via email. I will also keep it up right here. If you guys are like, hell yes, I want to get in there. I'm going to drop the sign up link into the chat for us as well. And now open us up for questions. Guys, I need to just always add 30 extra minutes onto workshops. I'm always going so much longer. Oh wait. Okay, let me put okay, so any questions that you guys have from today, from about Queendom, anything like that? I'll scroll back through the chat and see if there were any questions. Let's see. One question. If you guys have questions, drop them into the chat. This is an interesting question, Emma. If you want to cut your hair for many reasons, but also because you want a new era, can it be because of trauma? Of course it can be. My subconscious doesn't want this because of limiting beliefs that after this I will die, or that the thought I love long hair, and if I cut it short, then I will regret because people I follow on IG that one day I've started. And knowing too that it's hair, it'll grow back, right? But if you are experiencing like a really a lot of stuff, like I don't know, curious how BDSM. Um, Great question. You're like, BDSM seems very random in there. So it's large. So a lot of as I mentioned, with a lot of the women that I work with have, like I said, have experienced, that's an interesting way of saying that, have experienced sexual trauma in some way, or have had. So another way to look at sexual energy is sexual energy is very much connected to our magnetism. So when we have that natural, like X factor kind of energy, that is sexual energy. That is life force energy, even if it's not coming out as sexual, right? So for me, as a little girl, I have always my entire life gotten attention for how I look, right? So I became and for like being special and being different always since I can remember. And so when I'm a little girl, right, like that's not sexual. I'm not putting sexual energy out into the world, but it is this unique life force energy that attracts a lot of attention, and it's incredibly magnetic. And that for me cultivated a very bizarre, like love-hate relationship, a lot of tension in my relationship with my sexual energy, because it made me feel like, for one, just being me wasn't safe, because it would get a lot of wanted energy, unwanted energy, positive energy, negative energy, whatever, just a lot of attention, right? So it made me feel like, oh, just being me isn't safe. Like I need to dim this down in some way, whatever's going on here, right? And then it also, as I got older, and not even that old, unfortunately, attracted a lot of unwanted energy from men, right? A lot of unwanted attention from men. So that dims that sexual energy a lot more too. And this is very true for a lot of my clients as well. And I've also experienced sexual assault a few times, sexual harassment a lot. And so I became very aware that I had a very powerful power in this, but it also for so long was a love-hate relationship, because I'm like, well, I know that I'm very powerful in this and I can use this to get what I want, but it also comes with a lot of shit I don't want, and like not good stuff. And so that's part of why there's so much focus on sexual energy, right? Because we want to be able to tap into that beautiful power and clear shame from it, because shame is one of the biggest things that's blocking our magnetism. And so being able to clear that so we can have full access to that beautiful life force energy without it being dimmed down, without being afraid of it, without feeling like it makes us a target. And how BDSM and kink got thrown in there is I tend to attract a lot of women who are into that stuff. I mean, I'm into that stuff, as I think you guys know. And so I have talked about it. I've talked about it more so in the last few months, right? Ran a program on sexual or not sexual energy, ran a program on kink and BDSM, did a whole workshop on kink and BDSM, right? So I've been talking about it more. But I also like a lot of my clients that work with me one-on-one or in my programs, like they've been following me for a long time and they've paid attention to a lot of my posts. And so when I've shared about those when I've dropped little nuggets about kink and BDSM, they're like, oh, tell me more. I'm curious. Right. And so including kink and BDSM was very intentional because and I feel like I'm answering this like all over the place, but I hope it's coming through clearly. Kink and BDSM for me has been a very powerful tool for healing past sexual shame and clearing and trauma, for one. And I know that in clients that I've worked with, a lot of my one-on-one clients have had similar experiences with kink and BDSM. And I know too, a lot of the women that I work with have a lot of sexual energy and they feel wrong for their sexual energy or for how sexual they are, for their desires, fantasies, preferences, all of that. And so having that as an outlet, and none of the women in Queendom have been like closed off to it or like resistant to it. They're like, oh, this is interesting and this is curious and I'm going to learn more about myself. Whether they want to jump into it deeply, like they don't need to, right? But it's another way of exploring ourselves and getting to know ourselves and removing the taboo out of feminine pleasure, removing the taboo out of female sexuality and sexual expression, right? And I also think that, and I know this from my own life and from working with women, that you can learn a lot about magnetism from BDSM and kink. I mean, I have experience in a female dominant kind of role. And so being able to master that sexual energy and that female energy, feminine energy in that way, through playing with light and dark, through playing with taboo, through playing with desires, has made me wildly more magnetic. And we don't even have to go down the path of like putting it into practice, right? It can be thinking about the concepts, because when we think it's about power, right? It's about power and energy dynamics, BDSM. And so if we apply those power and energy dynamics within ourselves, we can tap into a fun new way of playing with our magnetism and our own power. If I'm like, okay, this week I'm feeling saucy. Sorry, God, but we're going to go this direction. I'm feeling a little saucy. So this week when I talk to God, I'm talking to him like he's my daddy Dom, right? And let's see how fun that feels. And I'm the good girl that he just wants to spoil. And if he tells me something through my intuition, I'm going to hear it through my intuition or through prayer or whatever. I'm going to feel it coming through like that. And if he tells me something, I'm going to be like, yes, sir, I'm on it. Thank you. Thank you for the guidance. I'm right on it. Like, now will you bless me? Cause I've been like such a good girl. Right. Like, and I'm kind of like being jokey with it there, but it allows us to look at energetic power dynamics, whether it's in yourself, whether it's with regard to external energetic universal energy or with regard to another person. But I love being able to kind of zoom out and look at BDSM and kink on all those layers, not just the like, what are we doing in the bedroom, but like how can I command this energy in myself? Right. So like I have so I hope that kind of explains it a little bit more, because it is a random thing. And like so many of the women, like when I know that so many of the women who have worked with me, who do work with me, yeah, absolutely, are like, they were so excited for BDSM month. I mean, and we're still in BDSM month. So it's been really exciting to share, and it's a neat way of discovering yourself and allowing yourself to explore fantasies and what might bring you pleasure without having to act on it. That's the thing. I'm not like, you need to go do this or act on this or do these things, right? If it's not someone's vibe, it's not your vibe, right? But I'm just educating about it. And then I'm like, okay, like what fantasies have you had? It doesn't mean you have to act on them or do anything about them, but like it's okay to have them and to not make yourself wrong for them. And in this month too, with BDSM focus, I also have a few activations that tap into like the principles of kink for somatic healing, right? So it's not a sexual thing, but it's like so much of the time that part of us, our like sexual deviant part of us, gets shoved away into the dark, and we're like, that's bad and that's wrong. I am never, like, we are not going there. And that's the same thing that we do with limiting beliefs, right? Or shit we don't want. Oh my gosh. I this part of me is so unacceptable. I'm going to just shove it away and not think about it. That doesn't make it go away, right? It just makes it get bigger. So when we're able to shine the light on the darkness, we can unleash so much. And so those kinds of principles we get to dig into. So it's yes, we talk about it in like a sexual activity kind of way. And like, hey, if you want to explore this, go for it. And I also, because it is I have a lot of experience in kink and BDSM from a submissive standpoint, from a dominant standpoint, from like I've had men pay me to come clean my house. Like they're paying me for the opportunity to do my dishes. Like it's weird, right? It's like I love it though. And so I'm also for the women in Queendom who are like, ooh, this sounds fun. I want to try it with my partner, right? Or like, oh, this sounds fun. Like I want, like, how do I have a conversation with somebody I'm dating? Or like that app that's more for kinky people. Like, would you look at my dating profile for it? Right? Like I want to right? It's wild. There's a kink for everything. I'm also very much a resource of being like, hey, this is a whole new universe because it is for quote unquote more deviant behavior. It can also attract more deviant people in general. Not always, right? Like, of course not. There are so many good people who enjoy that kind of stuff, right? But I'm also very much a resource for my clients who are like, hey, I want to explore this stuff. Like, I'm like, ask me all the questions. Let me, like, I will look at conversations you're having, like, no matter what, to tell you red flags, to guide you in this so that you do it in a very safe, conscious, embodied way, right? Okay. Oh my gosh, look at us go. Sometimes, regardless, some things I can be easily influenced. How can I stop it? What can I do about it? Okay. So I'll answer this question and then we'll go ahead and sign off. I think I'm understanding your question. So some things I can be easily influenced, and how can I stop it? Okay. So for this, Emma, I think I understand what you're saying, but I would want you to get so clear on what your values are, what your priorities are, the vision that you have for yourself and your life, for what direction you're going, right? So that when external things come in, if it's a request by somebody needing something, wanting something, you can say, so clearly if it's a yes or a no. Sometimes there are things that are maybe, right? But so that if you're so clear on, this is who I am, this is what's important to me, this is what I value, this is where I'm going, when external things come in, whether they are going to help you get to where you want or hurt you, right? Or distract you from getting to where you want. And so with that, right, that doesn't necessarily mean being rigid and saying no all the time, but it's like, oh, is this going to serve me? Is that like, or just being like, too, because sometimes things happen and you're like, oh, well, this popped up and it's unexpected. It's a friend asking me blah, 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 blah. And you're like, well, right now I can't just shift my attention and do this thing, right? You're like, but it's important to me to be a good friend, right? And to be a supportive friend. So you can say, you know what? Right now I'm busy and I need to do XYZ, but at 5:00, call me and I'm happy to listen and to be here for you, or whatever you need. Like, so there's opportunities where you say like, oh, well, it's a value of mine to be a good friend, and like be a safe space for my friends, that sort of thing. That doesn't mean that anytime there's an opportunity for you to do that, you should be pulled in whatever direction, right? But knowing how to balance these things. If you don't know your values, well, you get to do some work to get clear on what's important to you, right? Because like for me personally, my values are some of my core values are freedom, having choices, fun, health, love, uh, radical honesty. Those are a handful of my core values. And so I tend to make decisions then that are going to give me more of those things, right? And that are supporting those because those are really important to me. All right. Oh, some changes in your life after the last workshop that you did. I love that. I would love to hear about those. You can DM me what some of those changes were, but it is time for us to sign off for today. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for everyone watching the replay. As I mentioned, the code for joining Queendom. Thank you so much, Carissa. I appreciate it. Is Queen Codes. That code expires Wednesday evening. I hope to see some of you in Queendom. So if you enroll in Queendom in the next 7 days, you get to start literally next week. And we have a call next week. So it's perfect timing. All right. Thank you guys.